El Paso, please follow and like the Hub EP2. And a couple of quick announcements on parking. If you park in front of the building in the angled parking, if you're on the side closest to Durango, you only have an hour. If you don't do it, the city will come and leave you a little note. If you're on the side closest to the Paisano curve, you're fine if you got in there, but you also, in all those spaces, you have to be backed in. So with that, we're going to go ahead and bring up our first presenter, E-DealerDirect.
Good morning, everybody. So we are E-DealerDirect. We tried to put together a nice little fancy show here for you. So E-DealerDirect basically is the industry's first online auto auction. So what this is an auction specifically for dealers, credit unions, that kind of thing, that have repos that want to get rid of those cars, and then they in turn send them to dealers. So this is basically, I just made a little snapshot of our website to kind of give you an idea of, how this thing works, and then we'll kind of go through everything here. So our story. So basically, we're three old car guys, the typical used car guys that were out there, slinging metal and trying to make a living. And so the three of us, which are up here in the front, I'll introduce them to you guys at the Q&A. We have over 50 years in the auto industry. We've done everything you can possibly think of. We washed cars, we went through all the different ways of getting through there, selling cars, getting into finance, running a dealership, hiring, selling people, and that kind of stuff. So we've all done that. We've all worked the 12 to 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. Got yelled at for taking an hour lunch or a 30-minute lunch, and no vacations. So no quality of life, you have kids, you have that kind of thing, but you're expected to be at the dealership 24/7, really, because it's a sales game. So we kind of got tired of, doing all that. You get older and you're like, you know what, money's great, but there's really no quality of life. You don't have time for the kids. You don't have time for this, that, or the other. So we tried the 9 to 5. We went to go work at finance companies, still in the auto industry, but on the other side worked at finance companies. And then a couple of us went into the auction business. So we were on that side of it, so we really got to learn the auction business. And it was a 9 to 5, but then you kind of have that thing where, I'm working great hours, but now I'm not making the money, and so there was kind of a conflict there. So when we were at the auction, the light went off. So we figured, what can we do? Because I think I hit home. There it is. So we discovered a problem working at the auction. We had dealers that were telling us, hey, we've got an abundance of inventory, we need to get rid of our inventory, all right? And the same thing goes for banks, credit unions. They have repos, they don't keep those to try to retail them. They got to get rid of them. And then we had dealers that were calling us constantly, hey guys, I need cars. Can you help me find cars? And we're talking dealers throughout the entire United States. We're talking Nashville, we're talking Phoenix, we're talking everywhere. They would call us because at the auction we had an online portal where we would list cars for them, charge them a fee, and then anybody throughout the entire country could go to this portal and look for cars. The difference is there's not an auction. The dealer would say, okay, hey, I'm selling this car for this amount, and if this dealer wants to buy it, that's it. There was a little bit of negotiation, but not a hardline negotiation like there is at the auction. Typical auction, car goes through the lane, there's 100 dealers out there, whoever bids the highest, that's who gets the cars. Okay. So some of the problems were, we went and talked to the dealers. We were like, hey, what can we do to streamline this process? There's something here, but we got to figure it out. So the problem was, number one, time for dealers. Okay, it takes a lot of time to get cars to the auction. It takes a lot of time for those dealers to go to auction to rent cars, whether it's a bank, credit union, whatever. Those guys spend a lot of time preparing these vehicles to go to the auction. Time that takes away from them being able to help consumers like you guys that come in and want to buy cars. Or doing core things at the dealership. So it's really not producing money. Typically when cars go to auction, they lose money. There's not one car dealer on this planet that will come in here and tell you they make a great living by sending cars to auction. That's just not reality. The second one is through the dealer, what's called an arbitration process. A car goes through the lane. That dealer doesn't represent that car. You know, they run in, what they say is a green light. That means the car is ready to go. But then the other dealer buys it, and they see that something's wrong. Maybe a check engine light was wrong, or there was 3 or 4 panels that were painted. So then they give that back to the auction inspects it, and then they come back to the buying dealer and say, hey, this vehicle, check engine light, something's wrong with it. So then it gets arbitrated, so the selling dealer no longer sells that car. So that's a pain, because now you have to pay a no-sale fee through the auction because that car didn't buy it. And it's cumbersome on the dealer that was trying to buy it, because now he just spent his time doing research and all that on that car. Now he doesn't get the car, and that happens a lot. So arbitration, and then it's left up to the person at the auction to determine if that car is what it is. So I look at a car different than maybe you or you may look at it. Why only once a week? The auction runs once a week typically. Typically in the auto industry, it's Wednesday or Thursday. So you go through that. And then fees. Fees are the biggest deal. There's fees on both sides. There's buyer fees, seller fees. Typical on both sides, you can look anywhere from about $700 to $1,200 in fees. Who makes that money? The auction. So the auction makes plenty. So the solution was us, E-DealerDirect. So quickly we wanted to make sure that we identify those problems. So we do the auction with no fees. We go to the car, we have a dedicated account manager, goes to the dealership, takes pictures of those cars, assesses it. We know cars inside and out. We upload it to our site, and we have 100 dealers or so that bid on those cars instantly. That can happen every day. We can load 20 to 30 cars, 50 cars. Right now it's probably about 20 to 30 where we're at, to the site, and then dealers go in and bid that. Once we get a bid, then we relay that to the dealer. And they either accept it or they don't. So there's no fee for the selling dealer because we don't charge them anything when we go in, okay? So now we're building value. So as we're building value to the dealer, they no longer want to send those cars to auction. We're not going to buy everything, and we tell them that. Look, we're not buying everything. You're going to still have to send it to auction, but you create value. On the other side, for the buying dealer, there's no fees there as well. They're looking at cars that are represented, okay? So easy arbitration policy, because we're looking at the cars, we know the cars, so if there's an issue, we're the point of contact. We can tell them, hey, I drove that car, this is what's wrong with it. And then on the flip side of that, we tell the dealer, this is the issue with the car, so they know up hand. It's got hail damage, it's got a check engine light, here's the engine codes, that kind of thing. So we disclose everything to them. So basically that's it. In a nutshell, I'm sure you guys will have. So what our next steps are, what we're looking for is we want to continue to scale. We've identified 8 potential markets that we're looking for. We want to hire an inside sales team, and I can get into that through Q&A if you guys want to. And then we really want to go through, we want to develop an app for the auction. The time is now for the auto industry to change. It's been this way forever. Everything else is changing. And then the big thing, obviously, is we want to get funding so we can scale. Other than that, take it up for Q&A. Yes.
How do you spend money?
That's always a question we want. Real quick, let me introduce, this is Oscar, one of the other co-founders, and this is Greg Super, another co-founder.
Good morning.
And we have Michelle, who's our admin assistant, HR, marketing, all that kind of stuff. So the way we make money is, like I told you through the auction, when a car goes in, if you're a dealer, you take the car in, the auction charges them a fee for selling the car. The auction also charges the buyer to come in and get that also. So there's fees on both sides. So what we've done is we've just created a better way to make the same amount, but we're not charging it. So we make it on the flip, is basically what it is. So if you have a car and you tell me, Victor, I've got this car out there, I need 10 grand for it. And I come over here and tell you, hey, I've got this car, it's got a nice Honda Accord. I know you like Honda Accords because I've established a relationship, and I sell it to you for $11,000. I just made $1,000 on that flip. So I'm not saying we always make $1,000. A lot of times we want, if it's a startup, first account, we'll flip a car for $250. I'm not taking on any responsibility, really. I'm just filtering the car from point A to point B. So I'm doing exactly what the auction is, I just make it sound better. So, yes, ma'am.
So are you servicing an end user or are you servicing dealerships?
Most of it is dealerships. We are going to, like I had mentioned, we are going to banks, credit unions, that kind of thing, because they do have repos. So, and those banks and credit unions need to get rid of those cars. So typically, they send them to a physical auction, and they pay enormous amounts of fees for transportation, because they want to get the most money that they can get. A lot of your credit unions locally send them out of town. So it is strictly for dealer to dealer. The e-dealer is really dealers.
So I have a follow-up.
Yes.
So then are you doing the inspections then that
We are.
auction would usually typically
That's
go
exactly
through
right. So
before?
an auction, typically, you send a car, it's called a condition report, a CR. Typically, an auction will charge you $25, $35 to assess the vehicle, and then they give it a grade, anywhere from 1 to 5.
Right.
Okay, so we do that. Right now, we're the ones on the street right now, because I don't have a big crew, obviously, we're a startup. So, we've had extensive training on it, we've done it, most of our adult lives, so we know how to look at a car inside and out. So when we present that to the dealer that's buying, they know exactly what they're looking at. Hey, the quarter panel's been repainted, it's got a check engine light, here's the code, or whatever, it needs brakes, it needs tires. So they know going in, when they bid that car, they know what their reconditioning is going to be on the car. So, yes. Yes, sir.
Do you have a concern about Auto Trader and other potential competitors?
The concern there is that, so Auto Trader is different. Obviously, they do it on a retail side and we're doing it wholesale.
Right.
The hope, though, is that Auto Trader is owned by Cox Automotive, okay, which is probably the biggest, baddest, one of the people on the planet. They own everything in the auto industry. They own probably 150 auctions. They own Manheim auctions throughout the country. Our hope is that we make enough impact with this, that with the app, that they'll buy us out. That's the hope. Yeah, so we're definitely trying to go after them hard. Yeah. Yes,
Do you have revenue?
we do.
What is your revenue?
So right now, because we're in El Paso, I just hired a gentleman to start in Dallas on Monday, so we're just in the El Paso area. We're flipping right now for about 60 to 70 cars in El Paso. Just with the connections that we have, we're continually going out every day, grinding it, because we're doing everything. So, we got to go to meetings, we got to go shoot cars, we got to go get bids and that kind of stuff. But right now, our average, I think this month is a little bit over $800 per car. So if we're flipping, 60, 70 cars, you can do the math on that. We don't have a lot of overhead. I mean, our overhead is us really and the website.
So things are going well. Why do you need funding?
So we can scale. So for me, since we're on the ground right now and we're really the only ones doing it, I need to hire somebody to put in my place so I can go to Dallas and help that person open. Because it's a very different sale. It's so brand new in the market that when you walk into a dealer, that dealer group may have been sending cars to the auction for 20 years. It's all they know. So you have to go in there and really, you got to really go into a market and do a blitz.
I understand, but it seems like you're making money already.
We are.
Why would you dilute your ownership if to bring in an equity partner that's going to have all kinds of requirements for you?
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, we're not looking for a whole lot.
You obviously need.
You're right.
Making money right away.
Yeah.
I just don't see why you guys need capital.
Some of it is, and some of the capital also is not just say we're going to go into a market, but we're buying the cars. So if I'm buying from Greg,
Okay.
I have to purchase that car before I can turn it to her. So there's capital involved. It's instant. I mean, it's 2 to 3 days. Typically, it's crazy, but so we're signed up with Hertz Enterprise, that kind of thing. And it's crazy because dealers are lazy and they don't do their homework. So they'll call us and say, hey man, I need this kind of car. So we'll go to Hertz, we'll go to their big lot over at the airport, we'll shoot those cars, and tell, hey, I've got these cars, here's what you need to pay for it. They'd rather buy it from us than do their homework. So we make a quick, $300, $400, $500, but we still have to buy that. So some of the bigger entities like that, they take a little longer, but typically within a week that it's turned.
Okay.
Because we got to get title to be able to get funds. So without title.
How much are you looking to raise, and what is the?
You know what, right now, I think we're probably good at, it's crazy, but we've been able to, so we're doing, with the amount of cars that we're doing about $1 million right now that we're flipping. We do have a line of credit because, you know, like through Manheim and stuff, they have what's called next year capital. They'll give you a line of credit. Out of that $1 million, we had to use a line of credit once on a car. So we're flipping it very fast. But that if we move into a market like Dallas, we're doing 60 to 70 here. You can only imagine what Dallas will do. So there may be a, you know, it may be a little longer turn on it, but I'm going to need that capital. If I've got a guy in Dallas that all of a sudden in one day it flips 20 cars, that's a lot of cash. And right now I think our average is what, 17 grand on a car?
Average vehicle
Just
purchase
depends
is
on
about $17,000.
you'll ramp up 350 grand quick.
So do you have a business plan? Do you have something for investors to look at?
Yep, sure do.
Real quick, just to touch on what you were saying, typically titles sometimes take longer, so we don't get paid until that title comes in. Sometimes it takes 25 days, 30 days.
Yeah.
In one case,
From a
it's-
dealer.
we're already at 40 days on one.
Yeah,
So we've already paid for that, but we haven't gotten paid back.
right,
So
there is-
that's where the funding would come in, so we don't get into trouble.
right.
when-
And you don't want to use a line of credit, because if we have to use the line of credit, which is why, you know, Cots Automotive is, you know, they own the world. I mean, it'll cost us anywhere from $125 to $200 per car.
Sure.
So
That's
it's
the
really
upfront
expensive.
cost too.
So I'd almost rather have an investor and pay that to something that can add value to our business, as opposed to paying, you know, next year $150 to $200 just for the sake of paying it, you know. Yes, sir.
How can people nationally interact with you? It sounds like a lot of what you're doing is like, it involves the human doing a lot of the calculations, checking out the cars, doing the communication,
Yeah.
and also pinpointing, it sounds like you're pinpointing potential customers for those vehicles based on knowledge and relationships that you've built with them. You know, how much of it is technology based?
Well, that's why we want to get to the app, because I think right now there's so dealerships right now, most of your new car franchises, when you go in, if you have a trade-in, they use, and another one that's owned by Manheim or Cox Automotive, it's called V-Auto. So there's an app on the phone. Let's say the used car manager goes out there, assesses the vehicle, takes pictures of it already, so they can upload it to their database for their inventory, and then automatically all the books come up. So you have NADA, Kelly Blue, Black Book, and then all the auction reports. And then based on, you know, the dealership's practices and based on the car in the market, that's how they determine the value. It stops right there. And then the human factor comes in, and then the used car manager or whoever says, I want to keep this car for retail, or he says, I want to send it to auction, I want to wholesale this car. We don't do good for it. What I want to do with the app is take that part of it global, where I can upload it, have them upload it, but send it out for a bid instantly.
If I could ask a different question.
Sure.
How do customers around the country interact with this business now? How do they see what's available?
They don't.
How do they?
They don't, because it's really for dealers. It's not for the public. Like the public would never go in.
So dealers around the country, how do they interact with it if you were to approach?
Well, right now it's just through us, through relationships that we've built either through the auction or
Phone call and email.
phone call, email. Yeah, I mean, eventually it would have to. You'd almost have to create spots. You know, like El Paso is a great spot for Phoenix, Albuquerque, the rest of Texas. It's a great hub, you know, per se. We may have to have other hubs throughout the country to do those, to handle logistics on that kind of stuff. Yes, yes.
So is there opportunity for channel sales?
I mean, there's always opportunity for, I mean, we would just have to look at it and see exactly how it would work, you know, like if it would benefit us. I mean, right now, the way the system is, it could work. I mean, eventually when we go to the app, I'd really like the dealer just to pay for the usage of the app, and we don't really make the money on the flip. Now we're making it because they're a pay for app on both sides. So then I can get wholesalers involved. I can get everybody. I mean, dealers right now are paying if I told you what dealerships spend on the technology that they use, it's insane. I mean, we use one app right now just to assess cars and take pictures. We pay $150 per user. So there's 3 of us, so we're paying $450 just to use this app a month. So, I mean, and there's no other app out there like it. It's crazy. So if we can build that, you know, and have it integrate, I think we can do something different.
If you do establish strategic hubs around the country, do you plan on franchising them or will you maintain?
I want to sell it. That's the big picture. I mean, because like he said, Manheim is so big and Cox Automotive is so big that I mean, just me being in the car business, that's what they've done to almost everybody that's come out. The auto traders, you know, all these little things, they have just come in and swiped them up.
Yeah.
So there's just too much.
Okay, we have time for 1, maybe 2 more questions.
Okay, and I know he had his hand back there too.
Andy.
So the app is supposed to take your place and analyzing the car, is that the idea?
Kind of.
So that you're
Yeah.
not having to...
Yeah, because that way I can really scale, like it could be national.
So in terms of inspecting the car, the app does that?
No, the used car dealer would do that. They do it now. They do it right now. See, if you take a car in and you tell them, hey, whether you go to CarMax or, you know, whether it's a trade-in, that used car manager comes out, he inspects your vehicle. And then he comes to you, I mean, I can give you guys all kinds of insider trading, but he'll come out and so they come out and devalue the car, you know. You need tires, it's got this, it's got that, it's got this. They already do it. So why not let them do it? They're already doing it. But mentally, when they're walking around that car, they're saying, do I want to keep that car or do I want to send it to auction? It's not a good piece for me. You might have a Toyota dealership that doesn't do well with Hondas or Nissan. So you get, you know, Nissan Altima, you may say, send it to auction. I'll get more money for it. You know, we don't do well. So mentally, he's already doing it. So I just want him to take one step further and click a button and send a push notification to all the other dealers that, hey, I got this car out there for bid. Who's going to give me the highest bid?
So how do you make money on a transaction like that?
Well, then it would be a pay-for app. So I could charge the dealer $3.99 for the app. I could charge a wholesaler $99 to be able to bid on each other's cars. And then they would know where the car is. The car's in El Paso, I got to pay transportation to get it there.
Okay, last question. Oh, I'm sorry, she had her hand up first, plus you're an organizer.
Why the rebrand?
Why the rebrand?
You guys work car buddies, right?
No, that's another business.
It's a separate business.
That's the public business, yes.
Oh,
which
okay, so
ties
that's, so
in.
you do still then have that availability to sell to an individual?
We still do, we still want to present both of them.
Yes.
We had 6 minutes.
And then we thought about it definitely.
We thought about
I
having a
already had
joint.
the slides.
If it's a separate business, you guys can come back and present again,
Yes.
as long as it's a separate business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the last question always from what can we as a community do to help you?
No, just really, like the guy said last week, you know, really just support local startups. You know, El Paso, it's turning for sure, and there's a lot of dynamic people. I mean, just so you guys know, we're going to start talking to these guys that presented last week. So we think they can help us with our site and maybe with an app. So you need a lot of great people, and I think El Paso has a lot of good energy going on right now. This is awesome. I think we've been here 4 or 5 weeks, and it's been awesome for us. So just support, and if you guys know anybody that's looking to get into this, definitely.
Great, all right, thank you, gentlemen. I need one picture, so whoever, on the other side. You want to get on the other side? Right over down there. When you smile, look at what you do. Let's try. All right, thank you. Okay, now we have some time for some community announcements. I'm going to bring up Joe Wardy, the president of the hub, and he doesn't like me to say this, former mayor of El Paso. Hey, big time.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Today in El Paso is El Paso Giving Day. So what happens is, for those of you who don't know, today officially it's www.elpasogivingday.org, and there are, I don't know how many nonprofits are listed that sign up for this, and the public can sign up and donate. I'm not sure what the minimum is, $5, $10, $100, $1,000, to all the organizations listed as part of El Paso Giving Day. So I'm here to put in a plug for the Hub. We host this as part of our community effort, and it's been a great catalyst for bringing people that are interested in innovation and entrepreneurship together. The presenters like today are fantastic. I think it started a great dialogue in our community. Our principal funding comes from the city of El Paso. We are doing some private sector fundraising, but we have a very small staff. So any opportunity we get to say, hey, help us out a little bit if you possibly can. Every dollar counts. We put every dollar to work in the community to connect people that are, and to help startups. We have 17 groups in various forms of incubation right now, as well as providing seminars and workshops and one-on-one counseling and mentoring to even non-startups and to high schools and high school classes. So we do a lot of outreach. So remember, it's www.elpasogivingday.org. You can donate to us and any other organization that you might feel like you'd like to support. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Ernesto, I'll turn it back. All right.
Okay, does anybody in the audience have any community announcements? An event, you're looking to hire somebody, you're looking to raise some money, other than our presenters who already told us that, and we can help, by the way, you guys can join the help. Any other communities, announcements? Okay, Action Surge and the Hub present, this is tonight, From Idea to Action. How to take that great idea and turn it into action. Learn how to search forward and get those ideas working for you. Again, it's right here where you are at the Hub, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., but please do register on Eventbrite if you're interested in coming. Next, Reset for Your Mind. It's an event bringing together future innovators, creative industries, and social innovation. It's happening today in Ciudad Juarez and tomorrow in El Paso. If you have any interest in that, please let us know. That's also here at the Hub, and there's a hackathon going along with that. And I think we have a participant with the hackathon with one of our clients and past presenters. Next, Breakfast with Friends, every Thursday morning, 8:30 a.m. at Carnitas Querétaro on the east side. It's free, please go to Breakfast with Friends. Next, we have an open house with the Carwell Collaborative. That's the Medical Center of the Americas Foundation. Tomorrow, Thursday, November 16th, 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. The address is 5130 Gateway Boulevard East. It's the shiny new building that you can see right off the freeway, just east of the Spaghetti Bowl. Next, the El Paso Hispanic Chamber, Los Jóvenes Empresarios present happy hour at House Party, 1610 North Zaragoza. That's also tomorrow, the 16th at 5:30 p.m. Free admission. The drinks, unfortunately, are not free, but they have some pretty good prices there. The Hispanic Chamber also has Café Pan Dulce, also tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. at the Sam's Club, 9498 Gateway Boulevard North. Please let us know if you're interested in that. 1 Million Cups next week is having our holiday Thanksgiving mixer. We're going to have coffee, pastries, and networking, but no formal presentation. If anybody wants to get up and talk about anything, I'm sure we can make that happen. But really, it's just a networking mixer, and thank you all for supporting us and coming out. Mass Challenge Texas is a statewide accelerator. Try to get startups going here in Texas and accelerate their growth and progress. We're having a kickoff event locally on December 1st, 12 to 1:30 p.m. That's a lunch and learn here at the Hub. And then we will have office hours, or they will have office hours, from 2 to 4 p.m. at UTEP's Loya Center. And again, it's going to be, if you apply and you get selected, you're going to have all kinds of great access to funders, all kinds of access to support to help grow your business. Next, the Hub is having our holiday open house Thursday, December 14th, 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. We're going to have booze, free booze, so come and get that before it runs out. I'll make sure it runs out at some point, so come early. The City of El Paso is having their 2017 Cooperative Purchasing Expo. That's the 29th of November. There's going to be 2 sessions, one in the morning, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., and another 12 p.m. to 5 p.m., and that's at the Convention Center, I believe. Yes, at the Convention Center. And lastly, the Hub is having our patent, patent trademark seminar with the USPTO office, Thursday, January 18th. That's with the El Paso, in collaboration with the El Paso SBDC. It'll be at their SBDC Viscount address, 9050 Viscount. And lastly, this time I mean it, follow Downtown Insider for all events and things that are happening downtown. You can also submit your events. Serena's waving at me. Yes?
Because we're also going to have free beer and wine tonight.
Oh yes, how did I forget? What's wrong with me? Free booze tonight. So, that's a lot. Did you guys all catch all those events? You got them all right? You have them all in your head? No. That's why you need to sign up for Startup Digest El Paso. Go to startupdigest.com/, I think it's /El Paso. You can subscribe and get the email reminders to the newsletters of all your events, and you can submit your events or events that you know about. So, startupdigest.com, please do that. All right, any other announcements? Anybody forgot? Going once, going twice? All right, I'm going to bring up our next presenter, Idle Fancy Creative.
Good morning. So, my name is Marcus, obviously, and I am now the owner of Idle Fancy Films, Idle Fancy Creative. My older brother, had a vision about 8 years ago to start a video production and film company, primarily focused at helping companies advertise themselves through video. He and I both had kind of the idea that video is going to be a huge part of how companies market themselves online, not just through TV. And that was about 8 years ago. Now, in 2021, companies are going to really need to focus on video, primarily because 83%, I believe, of web traffic is going to be video. So that means 83% of anything that someone gets online is going to be video related. So he had this vision about 8 years ago and started to get small contracts here and there. He worked full-time as a finance portfolio manager. And in 2010, he asked me to come on as a cinematographer for him. I was small-time, I was doing photography and some small cinematography stuff, and I had a full-time job. He asked me to come on as a cinematographer. Of course, that was what I wanted to do. It was my passion, so I jumped on board. And we continued to do corporate work and some advertising stuff, some smaller stuff, some photography stuff. It was mostly video production and professional photography. And then we both moved to El Paso. We were in a different part of Texas. He moved because his wife was going to medical school, and I moved here to go to UTEP. So there was this kind of lag after about 2012 where we weren't doing as much work because he had a full-time job and a family, and I was going to school full-time. And so in 2014, we continued to work on stuff, and we got some more small-time stuff, but he kind of started to phase himself out and said, you know, I got too much other stuff going on. And I graduated, and in 2015, I started to mess with the idea of starting my own thing, starting my own company, and he basically said, hey, we've already built all this portfolio, we built all this work together, why don't we just take over the company name and run the company? Obviously, I was just a creative, a filmmaker. I didn't know anything about running a business, but I thought, why not? Why not try? We already got the portfolio, and so I wanted to start from scratch. So that's what I did in 2015. I actually took over the company, and what we do primarily, like I said, we started as a film and photography company, but now we've added services in the last couple of years, including graphic design, web design and development, marketing and consulting. We heavily transitioned to web design and development in the last couple of years, primarily because of client request. We got enough people asking, hey, we need website, we need web design. And they would also want other services like graphic design and photography, so we started to add services, and I started to bring in more people to collaborate with me to help bring those services to my clients. Our goal primarily is to provide companies with the best content that's going to fit their needs. So a company might come in and have a goal to sell a certain number of products or to increase the sale of their products. And what we want to do is we want to be able to offer any services that they need that's going to suit them. And so what that means if they need, if maybe their website is great, maybe they have a great website, but their product photography is terrible, it doesn't show or demonstrate their product well, we can go in and do really professional studio photography for their products. Or maybe their SEO needs to be improved a little bit on the website, we can go in and improve their SEO, or like I said, maybe adding a video helps bring in more clients to their website. Our challenges right now, like I said, we're still fairly new in El Paso. We do a lot of work in other parts in Texas. We do some work in New Mexico. But we really, now that we're based in El Paso, we really want to grow our client base. And recently, I wanted to explore the idea of moving some work over to Juarez. But obviously, I don't have any contacts in Juarez at all. So our challenges are figuring out how to expand over to Juarez and increase our client base in El Paso, because we're locally based now, so we want to work as much as we can locally in El Paso. What we can offer, like I said, is video production and advertising, photography, graphic design, web design and development. And we do some consulting with companies that need an idea of where to start. Some companies are really new, they don't have a lot of budget, but they'll bring us in and ask us, okay, this is the amount of money we have. Maybe we can't hire you now, but we can give you a little bit of money to give us an idea of where to start and what we can do on our own. So we'll go in and talk to people about social media marketing, or we'll talk to them about things they can do on their own until they have the budget to hire a professional company. That's pretty much it. Questions? And there's my contact information. Yes.
So you said you went to UTEP.
Yes.
Where did you get big?
Digital media production.
You guys are focused more on, I guess your core competency is video specifically, because you mentioned you were a cinematographer.
Yeah, that's my biggest area, but we have other people working for my company.
Oh, really?
So we have a full-time web developer, and we have a designer, graphic designer. So we do video production, obviously, because I do that, but we do everything really, really well now. We brought in a lot of people, and I used to do the graphic design. Now I brought in a really, really good graphic designer.
How many local clients do you have?
Local clients, we probably have, you mean altogether or what we're working on right now?
Altogether.
Altogether, we probably had 10 local clients. We're probably working on 3 or 4 of those right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably, off the top of my head, that's what I think. Yes.
The people you brought in, are this employees or the partners or how many?
Right now, they're contract workers. Until we can grow, we want to bring in employees, but right now they're contract workers.
How did you find the people that we needed?
Well, actually, that wasn't too hard because of going to UTEP and being within the creative community for the last 4 or 5 years. I know a lot of people in pretty much all areas of creative content, so graphic design and cinematography, and I know a lot of those kind of people. So I knew most of them. And then the graphic designer that we have now was actually a recommendation from my first day. Yes?
So what do you say to people who want to use phone videos?
What do I say to them? Well, what's the question? Should you use it or should you not?
No.
No, phones are so good now, that the quality of the image is so good now that it's acceptable. The most important thing is knowing how to use it. And the biggest mistake that everybody makes is they don't get good audio. So they don't go out and get a microphone, so they might record themselves on their phone, but it sounds terrible. And more than not, people will deal with, they'll be able to handle bad video, but they will not deal with bad audio. They'll automatically click out your video. So that's the biggest mistake that people make using their phones. But yeah, using your phones, if that's what you have to start with, I've seen entire full production, hour-and-a-half movies filmed on phones.
But your level of production is different than, say, Joe phone, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We use high-end cinematic production cameras, and we use professional audio, and obviously all the film experience with the script writing and the entire process, the preparation. We bring in professional talent to do the acting. So that entire process, yeah, but like I said, it depends on where your level, what the level of your company is. I've recommended to clients before to use things like their phone to start out until they have the money to hire professionally, because we can't take certain contracts. We can't take contracts where we lose money. So that's where the consulting comes in, is we help them kind of get started until they have the funds to come in and hopefully hire us later. Any other questions? Yes?
If we come across somebody that might be looking for your services, what's the best way to recommend them to show?
They can email me, or they can call me, or they can go to our website at iffcreative.com, and they can look at all of our work, and I have business cards if any of you guys want some business cards. And all of our work is online pretty much. Yes.
They can also come to the 1 Million Cups and we can make sure Marcus comes out of his office.
Sometimes I'm not.
What's the cost
In the dark.
of your service?
What's the cost? It really depends on what it is. Photography, product photography, we charge anywhere from, $50 to $100 per shot. Websites, it depends. If you want e-commerce, it's more expensive. If you just want a brochure website, it's a little bit cheaper. A couple $1,000s, something like that. It really depends on what the extent is. It's very customized service, so we don't offer just one thing to people. We usually organize the package best to suit their needs. So whether they need photography or website, or whether maybe they already have a good website, they just need to add e-commerce. So we do that.
But I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
But what if it's like a series of videos? Would you make a certain package or something? Or?
A series of videos?
Yes.
Well, yeah, we also offer the discounts based on the size of the contract. So if a company comes in and they say they want 10 videos, then we'll give them a discount on our normal rate versus just one video. And it depends on how complicated the production is. A 30-second ad spot on TV nowadays from a professional company could cost millions of dollars. Versus, a couple minute, much simpler video could cost, less, like a couple $1,000s. So it really depends on how complicated the production is and how many moving parts there are. Yeah.
So what platform do you use for your development? Like when you do software development, what platform do you use?
What software we use?
Yeah, like what platforms?
We use a lot of the Adobe products for pretty much all of our content, and then we use different coding softwares.
That's what I'm asking. What coding platform do you use?
We use all the Adobe products mostly.
Okay.
For the coding software. Now my developer uses probably 2 or 3 different tools. I don't know all of them. So he uses a variety of tools based on what we need.
I guess what I'm asking is, do you do more web design or do you do software development? Because they are not exactly the same thing.
Right. We do the web design and the web development, and we do some customized software for websites.
Okay.
So we help with companies if they want to have some customized software for their websites. We do some of that. But we don't do anything like app development. That's really the only thing we don't do is app development.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have any suggestions apart from audio for your YouTube channel?
For a YouTube channel?
Right.
Like you want to start, like what to do to start a YouTube channel? For YouTube, YouTube is
or who's YouTube for? How, something like that.
YouTube is for everybody.
All right, well then.
And there's a lot of companies, like big companies do not utilize YouTube. There's a lot of money to be made on YouTube, and especially big news media outlets do not utilize YouTube well. YouTube is for everybody, for small businesses, for big businesses. It's a really great avenue to market your company or to get your idea across. I would say, as far as kind of get started in that realm, make sure that your content is good. So don't just put on your phone and start talking. Actually sit down and think about what you want to talk about. Write down a script of what you want to say, what you want to present. Because if your content is good, people are more willing to overlook technical things like bad audio and bad video. But just go out and get a decent microphone that works with your cell phone, and that'll be leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of people who start. Yes?
How do you acquire customers?
Most of the time through word of mouth right now. We also do some kind of targeted, not targeted marketing, but we go to a lot of companies and we try to present ideas of how we can improve their sales. We don't do a lot of social media marketing. We don't do too much of that, mostly because there's a lot of competition for digital media creation. There's a lot of companies doing this. So we found our best success is to invest in the one-on-one relationship with people. So we try to spend as much time with people as we can, go and talk to local businesses, things like that. That's where we get most of our clientele. But we get a lot of clientele from Melbourne, so. Yeah.
I'm curious, who's your competition? Like, who are you competing with jobs for?
In El Paso?
Or anywhere?
In El Paso, the biggest companies are MindWarp, LLC, and FideV in the web design stuff for the video production. I'm trying to think of the name of the company. There's another company that does really good video production here in El Paso. Space Company. Actually, no, one of the cinematographers over there. There's not a lot of companies in El Paso, but there are some really good solid ones. But the biggest ones are FideV and MindWarp that do the web design.
Any other questions? Okay, as always, what can we as a community do to help you, Mark?
Just support, like any other company, we need support. And if you have services, if you need any of these services, if you know people who need these services, let us know. I would love to sit down and talk to anybody who we even just think, well, maybe I don't need these services now, but I might need these services, you know, a month from now or a year from now. Let us sit down with them that way. I can have a conversation. I can tell them what we do, and I can give them examples of what we do.
Great. Okay. Thanks so much.
Wait, we have to take a picture?
Yes.
Wait, hold on.
Thank you. I believe Marcus is our first alumni presenter to come back and present again. By our rules, after you've presented and it's been 6 months, you can come back and present again. Now, if you have, like you gentlemen, have a distinct business or a separate entity, like a nonprofit or something you're affiliated with, that's a totally different thing. You can come back and present that as well. So with that, a couple of quick announcements, we'll let you guys go. Please sign in at the front desk. If you did not sign in when you came in, please do so on the way out. It's very important for us to report our attendance back to Kaufman City, our supporters. Please sign up to present. As a reminder, December is Artist Month. I believe we have 1 or 2 slots still open for December. It's a short month because of Christmas. So, but please do, any artists, tattoo artists, any kind of creative like that, somebody who makes jewelry, please have them sign up to present. January is going to be brick and mortar month. So anybody that you know of where you have an actual brick and mortar facility, that'll be for you, January. With that, thank you so much. Come back and see us next week.
Yeah, we can set something up.